Good evening, I'm Sandra Mitchell.
And I'm Peter Dowd. The death toll from the Oakland warehouse fire is climbing tonight.
Officials now say that 33 people are confirmed dead in this inferno that erupted Friday during a dance party. Sheriff's investigators say they have searched 40% of the charred warehouse and only a few victims have been identified. A criminal investigation team now on the scene. They are looking into details of the deadly fire.
CBS 2's Tom Wade is live in Oakland with more. Tom?
And Peter and Sandra, it just keeps getting more heartbreaking out here. We've now learned that one of the dead is the son of one of the sheriff's deputies here in Alameda County. Take a live look. You can see the heavy machinery working right now to excavate this massive warehouse. They've separated it into 4 quadrants as they continue to search for remains. There are still a number of people missing out here. It is a heart-wrenching scene.
I was asleep in the back where the fire started.
Carmen Brito describes the moment her life changed forever. She and Nikki Kelber both lived in the warehouse and were there the night of the fire. Carmen was trying to sleep on the first floor.
I woke up to smoke and an orange glow coming from the corner, and in the time it took me to get on my coat and my shoes, the entire wall was on fire.
Carmen was able to make it to the door.
I was shouting for help, and people started to run towards the fire. They were grabbing fire extinguishers to try to put it out. People who were there for the event were confused. I mean, they didn't know, nobody knew what was going on. And in the time that it took me to walk from the back to the front, so maybe 30 seconds, I was already dizzy from the smoke.
It is an awful tragedy that it's affected everybody who was involved. We lost absolutely everything we own but my cat that I carried out and the clothes that I was wearing.
As crews continue to excavate the ruins of the warehouse, those who lived here have these thoughts swirling.
We're going back and forth between feeling like, oh my God, I almost died, to almost, oh my God, like I lost everything, to, oh my God, all of these people died in our home.
Yeah, and you know, and it's like, and we survived and we have to rebuild. But I think that but where?
Carmen and Nikki say more than 20 people lived in the warehouse at any given time. Officials say the building was not permitted for a living space. It was an artist collective known as Oakland Ghost Ship, thousands of square feet packed with furniture, art, and other items. When the fire broke out, most of the 50 to 100 people inside were on the second floor for an electronic dance event. It appears the only escape route was downstairs, made of wooden pallets, likely trapping dozens who would die.
We're really starting to get deeper into the building. As we do that, we continue to find more victims. We ask those families if they could please preserve any evidence for DNA purposes.
And in fact, families of the missing are being asked to provide toothbrushes and other items that could have their loved ones' DNA on them. You can see they are still working and have been working throughout the day into the night and will continue for the next several hours. It's not clear how long the search for the missing will continue. They did say at the press conference earlier that some victims were 17 years old and maybe even younger. We're, of course, staying on top of the story, and we'll bring you the latest tonight on CBS 2 News at 6. Peter and Sandra, back to you in the studio.
Definitely heartbreaking, Tom. What is the process now for finding victims? How are they going about doing this difficult task?
Well, right now, as we were reporting, they're looking at a lot of DNA samples. They're trying to figure out if in those remains that they can match up DNA samples to toothbrushes, brushes, things like that. And as I mentioned, the way they're kind of going about looking for all of the remains inside of the warehouse is by going through it quadrant by quadrant. They have 4 quadrants set up. And the problem is the entire building collapsed in on itself, the roof and all of the items that were in there. This place was packed with artist supplies, with art. They had mannequins. They had a number of other equipment in there. People said it was a collective of artists, and they lived there and worked there together. So there's a lot of, items and debris to sift through. It's a painstaking process, and they also, of course, want to be very respectful to the people who died in this horrific tragedy. This now stands, I believe, as one of the worst fires in the city's history, and certainly in the Bay Area, this stands as one of the worst as well. That's pretty much as what we know right now in terms of getting all of these remains collected, and we'll, of course, keep you posted on the very latest. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Just an agonizing and long wait for those families who still don't